Good morning, Year 3, and welcome to today's English lesson. So, the time has finally arrived. We are starting today to plan our non-chronological report. Before we start, I'm just going to show you the model text, the text that we looked at quite a while ago. So, you just have a little recap of what you are aiming for. Okay, so you have looked at this before. I will just be whizzing through this as a reminder. So, your non-chronological report will start with a heading. That'll be big and in the middle, and then you'll have subheadings. I'm going to aim for 3. If you'd like to do 4, go ahead, but I'd rather you do 3 good ones instead of like 7 little ones, if you know what I mean. How volcanoes erupt. Volcanoes are parts of the ground where the earth opens up, remembering our full stops. Under the ground where we stand is something known as the mantle, which is made up of lots of very hot rock called molten rock or magma. As the magma gets hotter and hotter, the pressure builds and it rises up until it enters the main chamber of the volcano. As more and more magma enters the chamber and it gets full, the volcano is forced to erupt to let out all the magma. Once the magma has left the volcano, it is known as lava. When a volcano erupts, sometimes the lava oozes out gently. This is known as an effusive eruption. Other times it ejects the lava violently with a lot of ash, and this is known as an explosive eruption. So my second subheading, different types of volcanoes. There are 3 different types of volcano. Bullet points for a list. Active volcanoes. These are volcanoes that have erupted recently and will probably erupt again. Dormant volcanoes. These are volcanoes that have not erupted recently but might erupt again. Extinct volcanoes. These are volcanoes that have not erupted in 10,000 years and probably will not erupt again. There are no active or dormant volcanoes in the UK, but there are a few in Spain and France. Most of the world's active volcanoes can be found in the Ring of Fire, which is around the Pacific Ocean in America and Asia. And then my last subheading, I put what happened at Pompeii, and then I told the story. Many years ago, in the Roman times, a volcano called Mount Vesuvius erupted and destroyed the town of Pompeii in Italy. Before the eruption, Pompeii was a beautiful, busy and rich city where about 15,000 Roman people lived. On the 24th of August, 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius finally erupted and filled the sky with clouds of ash. Buildings started shaking and ash and stones rained down from the sky. Within a few hours, the entire city was buried in ash, and everybody who hadn't run away from the volcano was dead and buried. The whole city remained buried for 1,700 years until excavators started digging to find its remains. So, very quick recap of the features that you will have to put in your non-chronological report. Heading and subheading. So you need to give your report a heading, a title. That could be of your choice, of course, because you're the writers. And at least 3 subheadings, which again, you can choose, and I'll talk about that in a minute. You will have to use some tier 3 vocabulary, some tricky words that you've learned over the last few weeks since school's been closed about volcanoes. Feel free to go back to your picture dictionary that we did right at the beginning to help you. That's what it's there for. So if you still remember what it's like to actually be in class, you remember that I always go on about this one. Capital letters and full stops. So remember, if you want to do the rainbow writing like we did, just do one sentence in one colour and then change the colour if you find that helps you. Fine. Just think about where your full stop should be. Keep reading back and checking, but we'll be practicing that tomorrow when we do the actual writing. And remember, capital letters at the beginning of sentences and for the names of places. So Mount Vesuvius. Pompeii. Mount Vesuvius is the name of the volcano. Names of volcanoes need capital letters. Pompeii because it's a place. Ring of Fire will need capital letters too. We just started using these before school closed for lockdown 3, but paragraphs. So remember, you start a new paragraph when you're talking about a new thing, something different, or a change of time or a change of place. Paragraphs are a little bit easier to use in this one because they'll be broken up by your subheadings anyway. And then we need to be making sure that we are using a formal tone, just like we did in English yesterday. When you're writing an information text, a non-chronological report, it needs to be in that formal way of writing. So don't use slang and don't use apostrophes like naughty Miss Hammond has here. Dun dun dun. That should be had not. There may be other things you can think of. For example, you might want to use a comparative and superlative that we looked at. Brilliant. If you want to get adjectives in, that is fine. Commas for things like lists, if they're relevant, then yes. But make sure that these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things are an absolute must, so make sure they are in your writing. So for today's non-chronological report plan, I've given you this sort of template, but if you don't like it, feel free to just have a go doing your own. You're all at home, you all work in different ways. If you want to just make some notes on a mind map, or you just want to make some notes on a scrap piece of paper, that is absolutely fine. I'm going to say now as well, just like in school, I do not mark your plans. Your plans are for you. You are the writer. You are just practicing. So feel free to do whatever method you like. You don't even need to show me. Just make sure that you've clicked turn in on the assignment. You don't need to attach anything if you don't want to. Just click the turn in button and I will be trusting you. Okay. So I'm just going to show you how to write a few notes. Again, this might not be the template that you want to use. That's completely fine. So remember, your report needs a title. So if you want to do something funny, like you could do vicious volcanoes. That's a nice alliterative one. Vicious volcanoes. Or if you want to keep it simple, you could just do all about volcanoes, or volcano information, or whatever you fancy. It's all up to you as the writer. Now, subheading 1, subheading 2, subheading 3. So you choose what subheadings you want to do. So I've put my 3 at the top. They were how volcanoes erupt, different types of volcanoes, and what happened at Pompeii. But you don't have to use these ones. You could use different ones. So for example, today's reading lesson was on fertile soil around volcanoes. So you might want to put the subheading how volcanoes help humans. That might make your reader think, oh, I didn't know that volcanoes helped humans. I only thought they killed them. So that might be a really good one to do. Or you could do where can I find volcanoes, and then maybe you could talk about the Ring of Fire and the fact that the tallest volcano is Ojos del Salado in Argentina. Or you might want to do something like volcanic eruptions and then just talk about explosive eruptions, effusive eruptions. Year 3, you choose whatever subheading you would like. So whatever has interested you the most about volcanoes, just write about that, because that's how you're going to get the best piece of writing. Okay, so once you've chosen your 3 subheadings, write them down on a piece of paper. Then underneath, just like we do at school, we can just make some really brief, and they only have to be brief, notes for each subheading. So for my first one, I chose how volcanoes help humans. So I'm thinking back to my text that I read earlier in English. So I'm going to write ash and magma has nutrients which help soil. Then I might write living near active volcano is risky. And then I've just thought as a writer, you know what, this bit probably sounds better there. So since this is just a plan, I can just scribble, put a little arrow to show that goes better there. I might write something like plants grow bigger and better, because I'll know what that means and I can elaborate more when I do my writing. Plants grow bigger and better. And then, of course, the last bit, which is important, is farmers make more money. And that's why people want to live near volcanoes, because they get the best plants. And the best plants mean the most money. Ching, ching. Farmers make more. And I could just put pound sign. Farmers make more pound signs. Okay, I'm going to fill the rest of the table out now, and it'll all be complete in a second. Okay, and as you can see, all my notes are here for you to have a look at if you need a little bit more help. So as I said before, just try your best. Now is a really good opportunity to look back over your assignments and think about those Oak National Academy videos and other videos that you've watched. Think about anything that you already know. And remember, this is just a plan, so I don't need to mark it, and you can present it however you like. Just make sure that you press the turn in button when you're done. And of course, if you'd like to send it to me, that is completely fine. Next lesson, we'll be writing it. So just remember, like I tell you in school, the most that you get done on your plan now, the easier it will be when you actually write it. If you need anything at all, feel free to contact me via Teams. I will always be happy to help, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.